Hi there, and thank you for joining us on the Overcomers Overcoming podcast. We feature those who are in the process of overcoming or have overcome any type of life encounter, life obstacle that at the time seemed to be almost insurmountable. With this podcast, we have three objectives in mind. Our first objective is we want you to know with a confident resolve you are not alone. We want to work with you. We want you to know there are others who are working with you, who want to help you through whatever you are encountering, and together we will get through whatever you're experiencing.
Our second objective is there are multiple options for any life encounter you are facing. We want to help you develop a resolve that there are various options and solutions to any life dilemma.
Our third objective is to help you with critical thinking skills. If you're encountering something that was possibly a decision you made sometime in the past, and if you had the opportunity for a life redo, you would make a different decision. We want to help you with those critical thinking skills that can help you make an informed decision and not encounter what you're going through at the moment. We are the Cooper Culture, a veteran-owned business. We work with business personnel and families to develop and sustain connected relationship cultures within their families and organizations. That type organization is one where people feel wanted, appreciated, and genuinely a part of that organization. I'm with my wife and business partner, Marty, who has helped me facilitate this podcast. Today we feature Diane Flowe, who discusses with us her early life, where at age 13 she started on drugs, and by age 15 she got married, dropped out of high school, and led an early life that in hindsight she knows why she got started in that direction and what is required to make the decision to start a new life and to have a life that is a productive life and not the one that she was on. She's got a great story of what it was that caused her to make the decision to reverse the life of drugs and become an advocate to help those who are having the propensity to get started in drugs or need to get a restart in life. Marty, what are some takeaways our listeners can gain from Diana?
Diana has an interesting story, and you think about this. I thought at 13, what was I doing at 13? Was getting up early. I had a completely different background than Diana had, but she has persevered and is now completely changed and enjoying life.
She got a great story of a turnaround. She is a great help to those who need a restart in life or are possibly facing some of the situations she faced. She can help people stay away from the drug life that she endured. Let's listen and learn together. Hey, Diana, it is great to have you with us. Our listeners are going to be very interested in just a brief overview of your background. You have had, and let's just say in a very euphemistic way, a storied background. Our listeners are going to be very interested in knowing only the top level from that. You know, I use the term at the 60,000 foot view. We're not here to dwell on the past, but just refresh our listeners enough to say, yep, I can identify with Diana. I know what she's going through. The emphasis on being today and forward, and how are you recovering from the past? And Diana, I'll just say very briefly, I am a firm believer. Your past does not define your future in any way. However, your past may certainly help you define the future in the context of I've overcome and I've made a decision to, and you're passing forward all the benefits of your life. Dinah, great to have you with us.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful to be here. So my past, well, yeah, it definitely doesn't define you, that's for sure. But I grew up, and I grew up in a 2-parent home, sort of the normal life, so we thought. And when I was about 13, I started using drugs, started dating, got married when I was 15 and started having kids. Kind of went spiraled down. Didn't have much of a life. Whenever I was out there using and doing my thing for a while. 29 years ago, I got clean and sober. And when I got clean and sober, decided I wanted to totally change my life, not just get clean and sober. So it's been a journey that I've been on for 29 years now, and I absolutely love the journey. So I got clean and sober, honestly, got to know the Lord, and really just everything about my life changed. I went to nursing school after that, and have been on this journey of transformation and helping other people see that, like you said, you don't have to live that life, that you don't have to live in the past. You can totally change your life and move forward. And I'm super grateful for that. So that's what I do now, is I not only help people see that they can leave all that in the past, but also create the life that they desire away from that.
Well, congratulations on 29 years of living a great life. Diana, with no attempt to relive the past, but I want to ask you a question. Thinking back to 13 years old, when you were 13 years old, you made the decision to start in drugs. Now, I want to ask this question. I want to make sure our listening audience understands why I'm asking this question. Marty and I both are advocates that if we are aware of a person's propensity to take drugs, then maybe we can help them from that decision so they never get started. I don't want our listeners to think that I have any attributes to help a person while they're in drug rehabilitation. Not that, but we'll accept you on the other side. So I guess Marty and I represent the before you start and after you've been it, reintegrate you into society. But Diana, with that as maybe a long backstory, can you think back to what the reason was at age 13 you decided to take drugs? Did you think something like maybe the drugs will provide something for me I'm not getting out of life at age 13?
Well, I don't, honestly, if I'm honest with you, I don't really know exactly what it was, but I will say what I can remember so far is that I did not have, it wasn't like I said, you know what, the drugs will help me do X, Y, Z. But what happened was my mother, I didn't have much of a relationship with my mother. I did with my father. But it was acceptable for me to go out and hang out with people that were using. That was acceptable. And so when I started using, I just used because, hey, everybody else was doing it. It was fun. There was back in my day, we had the smoking section at the school. So there was nobody that ever said, or nobody that I remember educating me, saying, you know what, you shouldn't use drugs, or even that is a drug. Nobody even educated me on what a drug truly is. Like alcohol's a drug, right? Nobody said that. So I would have to say that the biggest thing is I didn't have the support, the love, and the affection in the home. And I did not have the education on really what to do. And I hung out with the wrong people.
All right.
Fun.
Well, right there, Diane. I think you have summarized it really well from my perspective that, hey, everyone else is doing it. I'm just going to flow with the crowd. And I'm going to use an expression that you may or may not totally agree with. Hey, I I hung out with this crowd. They accepted me. And it just turned out that, this crowd I chose to identify with did drugs. And oh, by the way, I now know that was not the way to go. And so, Diane, would it be fair to say, and I want to ask you in a way that I would not, in any form or fashion, I want to stay away from stigmatizing, labeling anything. But if we, parents, grandparents, caretakers of any kind, if we believe those within our care are mixing it up with the wrong crowd, is it appropriate to take them aside, work with them, help them to know that, hey, you may be associating with the wrong people? Would that be a fair premise, a fair action to take?
I would say absolutely. And I will also add that during my time, even though you were hanging out with the wrong crowd, I think it's fair to say that you should encourage them even before it gets to that, in telling them who they are and what they can do. Because I had people telling me what I couldn't do, not what I could do. So for me, I wouldn't have fit in. I didn't fit in with those other people. So I think you train them up to believe that they are able to be a doctor or whatever they want to do, because that's, you got to program it in their mind or they fit in that crowd. So absolutely, I think it's fair. And that's one of the things that I do now is I work with people to tell them you don't have to do that.
I think what I'm hearing you say, Diana, is that earlier in life you were uncertain what your true value is, your strengths and so forth. You needed to be then around then, and people need to always be around positive thinking people. Diana, your strengths are you can do this, and you need to be around positive thinking, positive action people. Is that a fair statement?
That is absolutely fair to say.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Man, that's just great. Now, just curious, Diana, was there a point in your life where you were just totally addicted to, I mean, under the pressure of, I mean, you were totally subjected to drugs, where you maybe reached a low point and you had to make a decision, hey, no longer, that is, or not, how did you make the turn from where you used to be to where you are now?
So that is a really good question. There was a time that I was so engulfed in the drugs that I couldn't see a way out, and I didn't have the support. And so what was the turning point for me was that place where I'd been in and out of drug rehab, and I didn't have that support. I still didn't have the support of somebody saying, you can do this. Right? Nobody ever said, Dinah, you can get clean and sober. I had people saying, Dinah, you can't. So when I was suicidal, I had been suicidal for a while, but I was at a place where I had to do something. I either had to make suicide work or I had to make recovery work. And so what I did was I went to a drug rehab, and I turned around and I made myself a support system. I reached out to people who had been there, done that. People that would say to me, you know what, Diana, you can do it, even if they didn't believe it. They still said, you can do this, Diana. And they gave me some guidance on how they did it. Didn't mean I took everything they said, but I had some ideas on how to do this thing, because I didn't know how to do it. And my turning point was when what I tell people a lot of time is I couldn't live and I couldn't die. So I had to make a big decision, like, what are you going to do? And I think the key was, doing everything different than I had before, finding somebody that would support me and tell me what I could do and give me some ideas on how to do it, because knowing how to do it don't get anything done, right? Yep.
Well, now, did you, in hindsight, find a person who believed in you, and that person, or maybe some group of people, helped you make the decision to enter drug rehab? Is that kind of the way you went about it, to turn your life around?
No. When I went to drug rehab, I honestly went to drug rehab because I had tried to commit suicide several times and it had not worked. And so I was miserable where I was, and I felt hopeless. I never thought living this life I live now is absolutely mind blowing. I never thought I'd ever get clean and sober. I'd relapsed so many times. And so when I went to drug rehab, they said, you need to find somebody that you can get, that can hold you accountable, can help you. And so originally, I was in 12-step programs for many, many years. That was the people that encouraged me. That was the people that told me that I could do this and believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. But I also went and found a relapse prevention therapist, which was basically somebody that changed my mindset. She dug deep, and she was the one that reprogrammed my thinking for me. And between her and the 12-step programs, that was for probably the first 10 years. Well, actually, no, not 10 years, probably the first 5 years. That was my only source I wouldn't go outside of that. But eventually I started going into the church some, and I started, as I grew, I could find other ways. But initially, those were the only two places that I got my foundation, not family, not anybody else. Nobody else could tell me, because I didn't trust them. I was afraid to relapse and so bad.
Well, I'm just absolutely stunned to think that you made multiple of suicide attempts that thankfully, thank God, failed.
Yeah.
And you've made a major turnaround from that. Diana, from the time you made the decision to stop what you were doing until you felt totally free from, how long was that?
I don't know that it was this time, now other times before when I kept relapsing, I couldn't seem to get it. But I'll be honest with you, this time when it happened, I never looked back. But what I did was, the short version is, I had been in and out of drug rehab several times, in and out of 12-step programs, kept relapsing. But during that time, God was still working, because I was finding small miracles. The crazy thing was, he was speaking to me in ways that was blowing my mind, and doing things that I would call a miracle today, but I would never tell people, because they would think I was nuts. And so when I made the decision this time, it was like I said, Lord, I need you to take all that away, because I just keep messing this thing up. And for whatever reason, I can't answer it. I never had another desire to use. And I was somebody that was using on a daily basis, all day long. And I never looked back. I never once thought about using again. And to this day, I've not thought about using. And to me, that is a nothing. So I can't really tell you that anything really happened, other than I made a decision and God took care of the rest. I don't even know how to explain it, to be honest with you.
Wow. No, we're just very grateful that you did make the decision. And then as you think back, did you have one, two, three, however many people who said, hey, Diana, we're going to stand right by you and bring you through this. We're going to welcome you on the other side I'm going to believe you had to be reintegrated into the workforce, society, and so forth, because I'm just supposing when you were consuming drugs, you were under the total power of, and you were not capable of working at the time. Would I be at least somewhat accurate with it?
Oh, very, very accurate. So when I was using, I actually quit working. So at that time, I'm a nurse now, but I was not a nurse then. Obviously, I told you I was an 8th grade dropout. So I had a GED, and I worked in a restaurant, or I worked in the healthcare field as a nursing assistant. And I totally quit working. For several years, I didn't work at all, because I couldn't. I lived and breathed getting high. So I was my lady that I told you, my therapist, she helped me in a lot of ways. But honestly, I think I didn't work for a long time, probably 10 years maybe, or close to it, before I went back to work. And it was really about me. I took all the personal growth I could get. She poured everything into me about changing who I was, and about my personal growth, my leadership. It all goes together, right? They all feed on each other. And so what ended up happening was, as I went to nursing school, she helped me through that part. And it was kind of like a way of feeding me back into the system, getting me back into the workforce. And I didn't have anybody that I would say just really held my hand other than her, to be honest with you. Other people believed in me. I had a core group of people that was in the 12-step program that had been there for a very, very long time, many, many years. They in turn would say, oh, Diana, you got this. And they would help me in that sense. But I wouldn't say they necessarily could help me as far as teaching me how to get back into the workforce, because a lot of them had been retired for many years. Some of them were military retired and had been retired for lots of years. But when I got in there, I found people that were a lot older than me. I was 27 at the time to start with. I was very young. So most of the people in the program were a lot older than me. And what I did was I hung out with winners, right? I hung out with winners. I didn't hang out with the people that were a year sober or a year clean. I hung out with those that had 20, 10 plus years. Most of them, none of them had less than 5 years. Most of them 20 plus years. All of them are passed away now, just about, except maybe one or two.
Well, but what I'm hearing you say, Diana, is you made a very conscious decision to align yourself. I'm going to use the term very lightly, but with better people, people who thought better, had a better life, that were, quite honestly, socioeconomically where you wanted to be, rather than follow those who took you down the wrong path. And I'm not here to denigrate people. That's not my purpose at all. But it sounds like that's what you're saying.
Absolutely. And I tell people that I work with, you have to find people that are advanced. How it's not judging anybody. It's people that's already been there and they've grown way past where you want to be. You know, they have the saying is they have something you want, right?
Yep.
So I found people that had what I wanted. That was not just long-term recovery, but people that were living the life that they wanted to live, people that weren't acting like they used to. I don't want to be that same person I was, even clean and sober. I don't want to just be clean and sober.
As you made that decision to live the better life, I'm going to associate with those who are what I want to become. Did you have to almost verbally tell some people, I can't associate with you any longer? Or would you, in hindsight, say it was just a natural separation from those who were to those you want to be with?
Back in the day, I'll be honest with you, I ignored calls. I didn't tell them anything. They naturally disappeared, most of them. But even in today, I'll be honest with you, today I'm still working. I'm still doing some of the same things, right? I'm still growing. I'm still letting go of people that no longer serve me. And so recently what I did was I said to a friend who is not going where I am, I said, you know what, my life is so busy right now, and I apologize that I'm not in contact with you like I used to be. I want you to know that I love you dearly, but I'm super busy trying to grow and focus on my business. So never take for granted never think that I don't love you. I'm just not in contact as much. And so what that kind of released me from that. And they were like, they just kind of, either one of them just kind of left and I've not heard from them. And her sister sent me a message probably 2 weeks ago after a month and said, I wanted to let you know I love you. And I said, I love you too. That's it. I try not to hurt nobody's feelings when I do it, but I still got to do what I got to do for me, because I don't want to be that same person no more.
I think what you yep. I think what you said is very important. And I'm interpreting what you're saying is you just reprioritized your time with the amount of time that you want to spend with people. Those people who maybe thought positively, you put at the top of the list those who were negative and not following the lifestyle you want. You didn't befriend them. You just put them a little bit lower on the list. And yep, I still love you, but I just the 24 hours in a day, I choose to spend more time with the top 5 than the bottom 5, kind of thing.
That's true. And you know, the other thing to that is it's not, they're doing things that I don't want to do, right? And it's not so much I don't have to do what they do, but I don't want to be around those people.
Yep.
And it's not that I don't dislike them. That's just like I just don't have the same things in common anymore. And like you said, I have only 24 hours and I need to make the most of it.
Yep. Now, I'm curious, as you pursued your nursing degree and so forth, did you feel there was a stigma attached to you about your drug past, or do you feel that all the people you're working with now, they don't care about your past, where it's who you are today and forward? And I'm trying to word it in a way that did you feel at some way some people hung on to your past?
So let me just say that a lot of people do, but I came into this whenever I got clean and sober this time, for whatever reason, I carried with me this thought that I really don't care what anybody thinks about me, because God has brought me so far that it doesn't matter to me what anybody thinks. I know who I am. You know, remember I said the lady taught me it's not what you think, it's what you know. That was one of the things that she taught me. And so I live by that even today I live by that. So what happens is when you get into nursing, there are people that carry that, but I don't let that bother me not one bit. The thing is that healthcare itself has a lot of people that need me, because there's a lot of people out there, a lot of people that need to know what addiction is and how to overcome it. And so what typically happens, if I'm honest with you, most people walk into knowing me with a face on, right? They carry this certain face. I'm the nurse, I'm the doctor, I'm this. But when I share my story, they go, oh yeah. And then so many times I find myself either helping them in something they're struggling with, typically like alcohol or drugs, or I find myself, they've got a family member they want to connect me with. And so honestly, I've met a lot of people that need my help by just being transparent and really not caring what people think, but it carries a lot. Now, I will say when I finished nursing school, I was kind of concerned that I wouldn't be able to get my nursing license because of my past, right? But because I had some things that I had done, but thank God they never went on my record. I had them expunged or whatever. And so I didn't have to worry about it. But there are times that people judge me is what I call it, but I don't care. I know who I am today.
Oh, that gosh, I love your positive attitude, Diana. Now, I want to ask you is I use the term frequently to be appropriately vulnerable. In other words, what I hear you saying, and certainly correct me if I'm not summarizing you correctly or hearing you correctly, you felt that it was to be appropriately vulnerable as you converse with other people and related to them, you expose them to your past. Yep, been there. And so they felt that, oh my gosh, now I can really identify with Diana. She's being very genuine with me. And when I use the term appropriately vulnerable, I'm not the kind of person I will dwell on my past. That's not my purpose. Just to say, hey, I want to be very genuine with you and let you know I've been there where you are and maybe what you've been through. But here's what today and forward and positive is going to be. That's what I mean by being appropriately vulnerable. Just my term, but you seem to be very relatable to people that way.
Well, I have to tell you, so when I tend to always, or I try to always, well, I back up. When I first got clean and sober, I told everybody, it didn't matter who you was, I was shouting in the rooftop, right? And I still will shout to the rooftop. Well, don't get me started. Now, sometimes I can. But what I do typically now is the Lord has really taught me to listen and tune in, because I don't always, I don't know how to explain it, but I don't always tell people if I don't feel led. It's just that feeling that I have. You know what I'm saying? Like you just have that feeling like, oh, I need to say this, or I don't always. But the truth is that most of the time I share it, because if most people in this world need to hear it right now.
Totally agree. And I believe what you're saying, Diane. And again, correct me if I'm wrong. You let the Holy Spirit guide you to what degree, what are we going to talk about now? But through your awareness of your past, through the guiding of the Holy Spirit, you know how to tailor the conversation, and you can be appropriately vulnerable by exposing, who knows, 38 seconds of your past kind of thing, as opposed to, days and weeks on it. But Diana, gosh, that's I just think Marty and I applaud you for overcoming the past. And here's where my opening statement was: your past does not define you as to on the negative side, but it does help determine your future. That nope, you are going to leverage your past to benefit others, and you are very appropriately aware of the propensity for people to go and, or let's say, uh, make the wrong decision, or they know you can help them make a better decision.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
Wow. Diana, I'll tell you what, Marty and I just applaud you for the very positive life you have now. And you have leveraged, I call it, your past, and you're benefiting others. And I just know of, and Marty and I have been totally drug free our life. We have not been there, and I don't mean that to mean anything other than factually we haven't. We don't certainly don't stigmatize or think any less of those who have been, but more so, you're leading a very positive life. You're being a very positive influence to many people. Thank you, Diana, for the life that you're leading now and the major turnaround that you I can sense a very, very strong, determined attitude you have, and you are making the very best of your life today. And thank you so much for that.
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Oh, sorry, I lost you for a minute. No, and
Yeah.
I thank you. So thank you so much. I'm super grateful. One, I'm always grateful to be able to share what my life is like today versus then. It's like totally different. It's not even the same person. Sometimes when I look back, I'm in awe that I'm not even that person. Like, that's really who I was. It just is amazing. So I'm super grateful, and I'm grateful that you allow me to come on here and just share a little bit about my life. Like, if there's ever a chance, if I ever help just one person with my past and my future, then I'm all about trying to help somebody else. I love helping other people see that you don't have to be that person. You don't have to let other people hold you trapped to that.
No, Diana, thank you very much on behalf of our listeners for being willing to share your life. Thank you for being such a very positive influence on others. We appreciate your life and the future you have. I use the term frequently, the best is yet to come. Together we will.
Absolutely. Thank you so, so much. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Diana. Appreciate you.
We appreciate having the opportunity to share our and our guests' life experiences with you.
The Cooper Culture advances organizations to achieve and sustain high retention rates, connected communication, and trust through personality insights and principled leadership. You can contact us at our website, thecooperculture.com, and you can contact us directly at ron@thecooperculture.com or Marty, Marty, at thecooperculture.com. We work with you to help assess aspects of your culture to advance the environment and people to their best performance. We do that through our staff of certified personal performance coaches, leadership trainers, keynote speakers, and DISC personality behavior experts. You can book a speaking engagement directly through our website by contacting us at ron@thecooperculture.com. We look forward to sharing our life experiences with you, some of which are profound, some of which are pretty funny. Some of those life experiences are ones we'll never do that again because we've been through stuff. We truly look forward to working with you, speaking with you, helping advance you in any way that we can.